William Shakespeare's King Lear, written around 1605 to 1606, is a towering tragedy of nihilism and familial betrayal. Set in a bleak, legendary ancient Britain, the play opens with the aging Lear's decision to divide his kingdom among his three daughters in response to their flattery. When his youngest, Cordelia, refuses to hyperbolize her love, he banishes her, sparking a psychological collapse. As his elder daughters, Goneril and Regan, strip him of his dignity, Lear descends into madness amidst a literal and metaphorical storm. The work is characterized by its visceral, poetic style and a stance that questions the existence of divine justice in a cruel, indifferent world. Act 1. The play begins with King Lear deciding to divide his kingdom among his three daughters, Goneril, Regan, and Cordelia. To determine how much land each daughter will receive, Lear asks them to express their love for him. Goneril and Regan flatter their father with grand declarations, while Cordelia, his youngest and most honest daughter, refuses to exaggerate her feelings. Offended, Lear disowns Cordelia and gives her portion to her deceitful sisters. The King of France, impressed by Cordelia's integrity, marries her despite her loss of inheritance. Lear's advisor, the Earl of Kent, protests against the king's decision and is banished. Meanwhile, the Earl of Gloucester is deceived by his illegitimate son, Edmund, who plots against his legitimate brother, Edgar, to seize Gloucester's wealth and title. Lear, now staying with Goneril, quickly finds himself mistreated by her and her servants. Angered, he leaves and seeks refuge with Regan, only to be met with similar disrespect. The two sisters conspire against him, stripping him of his remaining power and dignity. Kent, now disguised as a commoner named Caius, remains loyal to Lear and tries to protect him. Meanwhile, Edmund manipulates Gloucester into believing that Edgar intends to kill him. Edgar, forced to flee, disguises himself as a mad beggar named Poor Tom. Edmund betrays his father to the sisters and their cruel ally, the Duke of Cornwall. Act 3. As a storm rages, Lear is cast out into the wilderness. Accompanied by his fool and Kent, he wanders the heath, descending into madness. His raving speeches reflect his growing awareness of human suffering and the consequences of his pride and folly. Meanwhile, Gloucester, realizing the cruelty of Lear's daughters, secretly helps the king and is punished for his loyalty. Cornwall gouges out Gloucester's eyes as punishment for aiding Lear, further illustrating the play's brutal themes of cruelty and injustice. Gloucester, now blind, is led by his disguised son Edgar, who continues to protect him without revealing his true identity. 4. Cordelia returns to England with a French army to rescue her father. She finds Lear in a state of delirium, and their reunion is deeply emotional. Now humbled, Lear recognizes his mistakes and seeks Cordelia's forgiveness, which she grants him. Meanwhile, Goneril and Regan's rivalry intensifies as they both desire Edmund. When their ambitions collide, jealousy and treachery lead to further chaos. 5. In the final act, the forces of Cordelia and Lear face off against the armies of Goneril and Regan. Edmund, now an influential figure, captures Lear and Cordelia after their defeat. He secretly orders Cordelia's execution, intending to prevent any future threats to his power. Goneril poisons Regan in a jealous rage over Edmund, then takes her own life. Edgar finally reveals his true identity, defeats Edmund in combat, and fatally wounds him. Before dying, Edmund attempts to undo his evil by confessing to ordering Cordelia's execution, but it is too late because she is already dead. Lear enters carrying Cordelia's lifeless body and, overcome with grief, dies moments later. Edgar, Kent, and Albany remain to restore order, but the kingdom is left in ruins, symbolizing the devastating consequences of betrayal. King Lear is arguably Shakespeare's most harrowing exploration of the human condition, centering on the devastating themes of filial ingratitude and the paradox of sight. Through the dual plots of Lear and Gloucester, The author suggests that humans typically gain spiritual vision only after they are physically or socially destroyed. Shakespeare's motivation likely stemmed from the anxieties of the time, specifically the transition of power and the fragility of social hierarchies under King James I. Artistically, the play is noted for its pessimistic grandeur and the use of the fool as a mirror to the king's folly. Technically, the language shifts from the rigid formality of the court to the fragmented, surreal prose of Lear's madness, mirroring his internal disintegration. The storm scene stands as a technical masterpiece where the elements reflect the protagonist's psychic trauma. In modern society, King Lear has found new life as a study of geriatric vulnerability and the loss of identity in old age. Contemporary interpretations often focus on the nothingness at the heart of the play, resonating with existentialist thought. It remains a chilling reminder of how easily the thin veneer of civilization can be stripped away, leaving only unaccommodated man.